Okay, who else is here? Janice Tedder. Diane Blankenship. I did one for Diane. Hello. Hello. Oh, you. Okay, ladies, it's time to start. My phone just blinked and I got a message and I was trying to figure out who it was from. But we do want to get started. A great crowd here tonight. I'm so excited. Last month we were up again, and this month it looks very good. So we're glad you're here because the important thing about WMC is to pray for our missionaries. And we're going to have a time for that tonight. And so we're glad for that, and we're glad you're here. So we're going to get started. We're going to talk here, first of all, about needs here. One prayer request, Pat Boyd's daughter had cancer surgery today, a big tumor in her colon. And it was bigger than they thought. They think they got it all, but they won't know until 5 days. So pray for her. Her name is Pat Boyd's daughter. I've been praying for her by name, and now I'm going, But anyway, we want to pray for her. And yes, ma'am, your hand's up. Betty's brother-in-law broke his pelvis in 2 places. So pray for him. You probably heard the name better than I did up here. Okay? Other prayer request. Yes, ma'am. Now, I didn't catch that. Your cousin has fiber? Thyroid cancer. Thyroid cancer. Okay. Let's pray for these people. Ellen, did you have your hand up? Okay, let's pray for Ellen's dad. Okay. It's very important to pray for these people. We'll pray later for our missionaries. We are going to divide in groups again because much of the mission conference, the food and things your leaders will talk to you about. We're going to see 2 videos about from 2 or 3. However, last month, one of them may have gotten canceled. But are you ready up there, ladies? Okay, let's start with our videos, please. Do I need to get lights down here then?
Repentance and remissions of sin should be preached in his name among all nations. Bulgaria the oldest country in Europe, is home to 7 million people and 3 main people groups. The Iron Curtain made of the Soviet Union fell from Bulgaria in 1990, yet 30 years later there are only a few independent missionaries in the entire country. Bulgaria is an Eastern European country located on the Black Sea and bordered by Romania to the north, Serbia and Macedonia to the west, and Greece and Turkey to the south. It is a beautiful nation with both mountain ranges and plains. Bulgaria is full of wide open spaces and a people in need of the gospel. Nearly 75% of Bulgarians claim to be Bulgarian Orthodox, yet they are functionally atheists. Of the remaining 10% are Sunni Muslims. 12% are atheists, and only 3% of all Bulgarians follow a number of other religions. Bulgaria is a secular state, and its constitution guarantees religious freedom. But Orthodoxy is a traditional religion. These people know little of the gospel of Jesus Christ. They have been shrouded in darkness and are in need of someone to shine the light of the gospel.
We are the Schiffbauer family: Dan, Angie, Ashley, Malachi, Micah, Joseph, and Simeon. And God has called us to Bulgaria. I asked Christ to be my personal Savior when I was 24. My wife Angie was saved at Vacation Bible School when she was 4. We were both scripturally baptized shortly after our conversions. Through a series of events, beginning back in 2017, God began burdening our family's hearts for the people of Bulgaria. It wasn't until 2020 when one of our children asked us about being missionaries to Bulgaria that we realized that God was calling each of us individually to the same place. As we pursued this possibility, God continued to open doors and to confirm his calling to us. Our family surrendered to become missionaries to Bulgaria in August of 2020. We have a desire to reach Bulgaria with the gospel by planting local, indigenous, independent Baptist churches throughout Bulgaria. Our first 2 years will be spent in Sofia, where we will attend language school. After we have completed language school, we plan to start an independent Baptist church in Pleven, a city in northern Bulgaria, where we will evangelize the lost, disciple believers, train them for service in the local church, and provide training for men to shepherd the churches.
The harvest truly is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Will you join us in prayer that God will send more missionaries to work for him in Bulgaria? Please pray with us as we prepare through deputation to follow this call. Would you consider uniting with us in this work through financially supporting us as your ambassadors for God to Bulgaria?
The United Kingdom was once the center of Christian influence. Many great missionaries, preachers, and teachers of our Christian heritage were sent from the UK to evangelize the world. Since this time, the UK has passed from a beacon of true light to a dark, post-Christian nation. With Islam becoming the fastest growing religion, churches are closing to become places of commerce, nightlife, and mosques. It would seem as if this country has turned its back on God completely. However, we know from Isaiah chapter 1 verse 9, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Even in the darkest days, God still has a remnant. Many years ago, the Lord gave Pastor Clarence Sexton a burden for the people of England. In 2006, Pastor Sexton sent a group from Temple Baptist Church and Crown College under the leadership of James Zenker to begin a work in the United Kingdom. Since then, many chapels and outreach works have begun and are growing, reaching the people for Christ. This is being done through gospel ministries such as evangelistic Sunday schools, English classes, children's Bible clubs, summer camps, and gospel missions. Souls are being reached and hearts softened to the Lord and his work as God's people pray. The Lord is working in such a way that empty church buildings are being offered and donated to the Crown Christian Heritage Trust, our registered UK charity for gospel use. The opportunity truly is as limitless as God's power. More than a century ago, Charles Spurgeon said, "Ought we not to look upon our own history as being at least as full of God as the lives of any of the saints who have gone before? We do our Lord an injustice when we suppose that he wrought all his mighty acts and showed himself strong for those in the early time, but does not perform wonders for the saints who are now upon the earth. We know God can do greater things, and we trust him to do so. The greatest days for the United Kingdom have not occurred, but lie ahead."
My name is Josiah Gerbitz, and this is my wife, Hannah. We were both graduates of the Crown College of the Bible in Powell, Tennessee. It was during our time at Bible College that the Lord allowed us the opportunity to spend a few months serving with the ministry in the United Kingdom. It was during this time that the Lord truly burdened our hearts for pioneering missions work. My wife and I desire to go to the United Kingdom to plant New Testament churches, begin evangelistic Sunday schools, and reach the lost with the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ.
We are so thankful for this calling on our lives, and we're trusting God to do great things. We know God is at work in the United Kingdom, and we can't wait to join in that work.
From time to time in life, you meet special people, and you know immediately that God's hand is on their lives. Well, when I met Josiah Gerbitz and now his wife Hannah, I knew that they were special people, that the Lord had touched them. And I'm not surprised that God is using them in such a great way. Now they believe the Lord has called them to be a part of the work in England in the Crown Christian Heritage Trust. And one of the most amazing things I've seen in the whole wide world is happening there. And I'm so excited that Josiah and Hannah are going to be a part of it. We're supporting them and praying for them, financially supporting them. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. You're going to find out right away that these are wonderful Christian young people, and they have the touch of God on their lives. And you're going to be thrilled that you can have a part in their life and ministry as they go as missionaries to England, a most needy place, but an amazing thing is happening, and they're going to be right in the middle of it. Please do all you can to help them, pray for them, and let them know that you're going to stay with them, love them, and hold them before the Lord in this wonderful ministry God's called them to do in England.
Would you please join us in praying for 3 areas?
Pray for the laborers that are currently there, that God would enable them and continue to open doors.
Pray for the dark and hardened hearts of the people, that they would see the light of the gospel and would accept it.
And lastly, pray that we would be able to quickly join this work to which God has called us. We thank you for your prayers and support as we go to the United Kingdom. We know that God is able.
Thank you for hearing those. I knew we had sent 3, but one was through us, and I wasn't sure if it would be able to be there. But we want to meet our missionaries that are going this, and will be at our mission conference. When we were in England several years ago, we had the privilege of visiting one of our missionaries that was working with this group and the college. And it was magnificent. Pulling those weeds out of those rocks was hard work, but God is blessing that work, and they're getting students from that area. And the churches, we visited 2 churches, just a quick visit, but they have an amazing program started. So I want you to pray for the Gerberts. They are already our missionaries, but they're coming to our conference. They're still on deputation, trying to raise our support. So we're going to talk a little bit about our missionaries, And then we're going to hear from our circle leaders, and then we're going to have time to pray for our missionaries and for one another, those needs. Of course, Dr. Sis will be here. He will be our keynote speaker. And I asked him, Brother Sis, do you have a verse that really would be one that would be good? And so he sent me 3. And I sent one through by the pastor and he said, this is good. 1 Kings, and I have it, I think, on my phone. I'm not good on my phone, but let's see if I can get it up, and we'll see. There it is. Okay, it's 1 Kings. No, that's the one we're using is Isaiah. No, 1 Kings. I've got the Isaiah verse, but the theme will be that all the world may know. So we'll have the verse written down for sure for you, because I had both of them, and we'll go back. But it'll be 1 Kings, probably 8, verse 60. But we will have the theme that all the world may know. And so if you have ideas about that, talk to your circle leaders. We'll be decorating for the ladies' luncheon and for the international dinner. And so we want you to start putting it on your calendar. Now, you met the first missionaries, the first one from Circle 1, Rex and Mary Cobb. They have the Institute of Linguistics. We've had several missionaries that have gone through. It just helps them be able to learn languages, especially in countries where there is not a printed copy. So they will be here. And then Tom and Jen Beeman for the Philippines. And when you leave from your circle, you're going to have all their pictures and their names. And then we'll have Mark and Emily Mariner for Circle 3 going to Suriname, South America. We have 2 little countries right together. Until I did missions, I didn't know where they were. I didn't even know they existed. But they are. We got one last year, and this year we're adding Suriname. And then Dan and Angie, you saw theirs to Bulgaria. And we don't have any missionaries there. So we have 3 countries that we don't have missionaries, and we're excited about that. And then we're going to have Stetson and Sandy I want to say Plain. It's just Plaque. I'm learning how to pronounce these names. That's why I missed the one and just said the first name. But I am practicing, and it was on the video a little different than we had been saying it. So I've got to work on that, and we'll, in the next meeting, we'll try to have the pronunciations down. So when you meet the missionaries, you're already going to be able to say hello and meet them in that way. That impresses the missionaries that you know them, and maybe you've already started praying for them. So that's the goal, and that's why we're passing this out today. And then Josiah and Hannah, some of you may have met them. They were here the last part of last year. I think it was December of last year. So it was on a Wednesday night, and probably many of you did not meet them. But they're going to join the work where we already have the Hausers and Zach and Ashley in that country. And that's the ones we visited when we were there. And they have 3 children. And so there's a great work going on. And pray that there will be a great work in all of these areas, because we really want to help our missionaries. And the biggest thing we can do is pray for them. And then, of course, financially, if you put together, and usually every missionary that comes we're able to take on for support, and that's a really good thing. Now we're going to do birthdays real quick here. Tara Hickey's way back there in the back. Tara has a birthday, I think this month, way down to the 29th. Tara brings her girls, and she's got more girls coming there. It won't be long, they'll be here. Janice Tedder is there. Today, she retired. So we'll see. This is her second time. This is it. All right. let's see, who else? Isabel's not here. She came so faithfully until COVID and all the things. So would you come get hers, Blanca? She has a prayer request. She is a prayer request or has a prayer request? Okay. Why don't you give it when you give your circle, okay? Because we want to pray for that young lady. She really has a heart for missions. She will get their names and know more about them than I do sometimes. And I have to ask her, what about the ones to Russia? She can say, well, I talked to them, I know. And I said, good, I don't know. And let's see, I know someone else is here that has a birthday. Okay. I'll find it right here in a minute. Well, there is somebody else here with a birthday, isn't there? Way in the back. Okay, come up. I'm trying to see. I know. Lori. I knew Lori. I looked to see her, and I know. So, Lori, happy birthday to Lori. The 21st. We won't ask how old, but it's good, and we wish all of you ladies happy birthday. We have 2 circle leaders with birthdays, not birthdays, but gone this month, and Karen. So I thought, I'll remember it. She said, no. I said, yes, I will. So Karen Bishop, you might want to say she's already had her birthday, but had to go because a grandchild had a birthday this month, and they missed celebrating last month. So these are our birthdays that I have. Am I missing anybody? Because we have several ladies that haven't been regular, and we have several that's come back. In fact, right now, Circle 1 looks like no new ones. Circle 2, where are you, Rosemary? Who do you have on your row? All your regulars. And Lori back there. Some haven't been back for a little while, though. Yes, Gloria. So I was glad to see her come in. And now, do you have any visitors, Blanca? You do not. And we do have a visitor, not a visitor. Vicky's going to fill in today for her circle that she had for a long time. And is there anybody else new in Circle 4 here? We have several that haven't been in a long time. So we're glad to see any of them, all of you back. It's so exciting to see as we start getting gathered back, and especially with the mission conference coming. Now we're going to talk just a little bit about the mission conference, and then we'll hear from the ladies. But the main part of planning and talking about the food and things will be done in your circles, because we're going to do the international dinner. They're assigned soups or salad instead of just anybody bringing whatever, because we still want to serve the food. We still want to be careful about it so we don't spread anything. So we're going to do it a little bit different. And then also the international dinner, you will get that, and they've done that always, the food for the international dinner. So we'll divide after a while, but we will. Next month, we'll tell you, we don't know yet where everything's going to meet. We'll have some of the meetings in the Family Life Center, but we will have the international dinner. We will have the ladies' soup and salad, the men's pizza party, and we will have the breakfast upstairs for the Heritage Builders and anybody else that wants to come. No, we won't have it in the Family Life Center. I'm still going upstairs and downstairs with the different meetings. So we will have all of those things, but instead of just asking, now start inviting ladies and as our guest, because we'll provide all the soups and salad for the ladies' luncheon, and the men, they want pizza. Usually we'll have pizza for them and the desserts. So start inviting people now. And for the international dinner, it will be in the Family Life Center, and we'll have just see and meet the missionaries all week long. So I say, if you know a missionary, you really pray for them better, So that's why we have a missionary conference. We could just say, okay, we'll just start supporting you, and you. But we like to meet them, to get acquainted with them. And so that will be starting in September the 22nd. So it's really just 1 month away. So, and we have to have our WMC meeting the second week next time, so it'll be just in time to make sure we've got all the parts put together. So I want you to plan to be there. I want you to start already talking it up. We'll have our prayer boards out here to help all of our people to get a missionary to pray for. And so we want to encourage you, ladies, in this matter. So we're going to have I think, a very good mission conference, and so I'm excited. And if you get excited, then you get excited for the missionaries, and you will have, the leaders have, you will have a list. You'll be able to see their pictures, and you will be able to see their names and birthdays, so you will be able to know the missionaries. And I know almost all of our missionaries by the man and wife, but I haven't learned all the children, because to learn all of those and pray for them individually. But we can start by now, because you'll have their names, and that's a very good thing, to learn to pray for the family. Someone told me, oh yes, I pray for all the missionaries of Temple Baptist Church. I just pray for all of them. I said, that's great, good. But it's better if we just pray for the missionaries by name. And if you can pray for them by name, and then your circles will help you with other prayer requests, and so you can learn to pray for them individually and by calling their name. And if you call them by name when they come, they're going to really think you've been praying for them. And I think so too. So learn their names, learn to pray for them even before they get here. And that is a very good thing. Now we're going to hear from our circle leaders. And I'm going to start backwards today. I'm going to start with Circle 4. I want Vicki to come up, because I want Vicki's been, most of the time she makes it back, but she moved away. But she was going to be here, and she was going to help. Both their leaders are out of town. So she said, I can fill in. And I said, good, much better than I can. So Vicki's going to start with praying for, and the main ones on her list, and then we'll hear from 3 and be ready up to go. And of course, Rhoda is out of town, but I didn't worry about that circle at all, because Carolyn and her work together really, really in a good fashion, and so I knew she would be able to cover that base. So Vicki, highlight the ones with the most needed prayer.
Okay. I'm filling in. My name is Vicki Watson. Some of you know me by a different name, but it's Watson. And filling in for Karen, and Kathy was supposed to lead the group afterwards, and she got sick, and so I got to do that too. But anyways, kind of bear with me. Circle 4, and we cover Europe and Africa. The Thatchers is on the list. Most everything is on the list, but the Thatchers pray for their Bible clubs and the teens as they come back from there, that they'll stay challenged and up and so forth. The Coolies, the discipleship program. When a person in the United States gets saved, usually they know all about the Lord. They know about God, they know about the Bible. Overseas, a lot of them don't know anything. So discipleship is so important, and it takes a lot of time. I remember Sarah spent a lot of time over in England discipling. And on the Maskies, they have been there in Nigeria 27 years. They've had a lot of kids, too. But most everything else is on the list, and appreciate your time.
Did you write down how many have been saved in Nigeria?
Oh, did they have it down on here? Karen didn't put it down. It was 2 or 3. Yeah, 300,000 or 400,000 souls that they have won to the Lord. But you have to remember, that's in Nigeria. In England, it's a lot harder. So keep that in mind.
Say, good evening, I'm Blanca Robinson, and we pray for missionaries in the Caribbean and South America. So I've got two to report from. The first one's is Robert and Rhoda Smith in Barbados. They're currently in the U.S. on a short furlough, so just pray for their safety as they travel to their supporting churches and stuff. And they're also visiting their 2 college students. Then they'll be returning back to Barbados. The second one is Jonathan and Janine Autry in the Dominican Republic. I'm just going to read what I wrote on here because I don't want to miss anything on their prayer request. Both of their English and Spanish churches are doing well as things slowly return to normal. So that's a good report from them. Their prayer request is Janine, that is mom, Jonathan's wife, and the kids were involved in an accident that claimed the life of a young man. So he was traveling in a motorcycle in a high speed, and they were actually pulling out of the church parking lot and hit him, and he passed away that night. So just special prayers for Janine as she deals with that. And they're grateful that their children were reading and talking to each other, so they actually didn't see anything. They are grateful that no one else was injured, and they had the church van, and they had people in there too, but nobody else was hurt, so they're grateful for that. They're also grateful that the camera from the church parking lot caught everything. It was not her fault. And they are asking prayers as they go to court. It is the most nerve-wracking situation for any foreigner to have to go to court in a foreign country. Even though it was not Janine's fault, they had to post a bond, and they already have been told that they will have to pay some kind of restitution to the family, even though they were not at fault. So just pray for this whole situation as they get ready to go to court. And my last prayer request is actually for one of our former missionaries, Donna Scapers. Our church supported her when they were in Canada and in the Dominican, but she just started chemo this past week for a rare form of fallopian tube cancer. She's stage 2. So just be in prayer. I know many of you all know her, and just continue to lift her up during this time. Thank you. Oh, and just a quick prayer request for Isabel. She has been having ongoing health problems. It's been over a year now that we've gone back and forth with her, and she had concussion. Now she's having GI issues, so she's got a GI doctor, and what we started, the regime they started her on is not working very well, so we're going back next week. So just keep her in prayer. A lot of times you'll see her, she's in choir, she's not in choir, and it's just depending on how she feels. So just keep her, because she just wants to feel good, and she's not. So thanks.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Nelson, and we have missionaries in the Southeast, Far East Asia, Australia, the Oceanic Islands, and still in most of those islands, their COVID is picking up, where it seems to be slowing down here, and it's just now where it's getting worse, and a lot of them are in lockdown. And it's made it hard on missionaries trying to go back over there. But remember, this month, actually Thursday, the new missionaries that we took on to going to Australia, the Tingsons, they will be leaving to go to Australia, and pray for them as they travel there, and that things will go okay once they get there. And then we have the Victor and Carol Hartsfield to Cambodia, and you know they've been thinking they were going to get to go for months and months and months. It's been probably 2 years, and then finally their visas ran out. It took so long. So they're got everything. It was God's timing. Everything came in all at once, and they were really surprised. But they're leaving the 25th of this month to go back, and they're going to have a lot of things going on when they get over there. And I think once they land there, they're going to have to quarantine, and then they've got a 6-hour drive back to where their field is. And you'll notice some of these missionaries, I don't mention the countries, but we have one family that's going to a country that's they've been to before, but they're actually Koreans, South Korea. Both of them are from there, and because it's been so long since they've been there, they've had to go through a lot of stuff. They're staying there until they can get back into the country they're trying to. And you can read about all the things that they've gone through and just how difficult it is for these missionaries and how blessed we are with what we have, and we don't sometimes thank God for it. And then there's, if you read about the trails, they've had some really scary times, and we need to keep them in our prayers constantly. I get letters from them every week about things going on where they are. And the Martins, pray for Becky. She's working on getting her immigration card, and they've been over there, I don't know how many years, but I know that they're celebrating, their Bible college is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, so they've been over there forever. And so just pray for them and pray for all the ministries. I did ask them if they would send us some videos of the things that they do. It's overwhelming to see all the ministries that they have over there and how many preacher boys and churches that have grown since they've been there. And then in Thailand, there's another one that has, the COVID is there, and the Seamish is their son that's been over there helping them. He got married, and his wife and he are working in the ministry. And pray for in Japan, pray for the Craigs, Bill and Terry. They've both had cancer, and he just recently was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And they're keeping a watch on that, but she's been in remission for several years on hers. But keep them in your prayers, please. Thank you.
I'm Carolyn Carlson. I'm standing in for Rhoda Staley tonight. She's our WMC leader, and WMC 1, we have missionaries, or we support missionary projects in the Greenland. We have missionary in Alaska, and then of course USA, and all our projects that we have in the United States, which includes colleges, and the Bunnells are now in Georgia. They were in England, and they're in Georgia, and he is president of BMW, I think. Isn't that what it was? They talked about it last week or last month. But Ministry Biblical, is it Baptist Ministries Worldwide, I think? Isn't that what it would be? Something like that. Anyway, and then we have missionaries we support in Mexico and Central America. So, anyway, you have the list, sure. I would mention the lead Ks. I think Rhoda talked about them last month, that Mr. Lead K had COVID. It was his second time to have COVID. They had it in December, and he went into a hospital with lung issues, but he's home now and doing much better, doing breathing exercises, and he's ready to go back to work. Let's see. The other one that I wanted to mention, the Mortensons, they're in Honduras, and the lead Ks are also in Honduras. They were in Belize. Those of you that went to Belize on the mission trip, that was it to Belize, but now they're in Honduras. And so that's just, I think most of you know that. But the Mortensons are in Honduras. And I remember on, I think, a Facebook post that Corey Mortensen asked for prayer for them to learn the Spanish language. They've been down there for a while, but they're under a tutor, and they asked us to pray for the Spanish teacher that he would get saved. He listens to them, and he promised that when Nate Mortensen did his first sermon in Spanish, that he would come to church that day. So just pray for that. I don't know when that will be, but I'm sure there'll be a posting on Facebook about that. So pray that his teacher, their Spanish teacher, would get saved and would come to church to critique, I guess, his first Spanish preaching sermon. And so I don't know, you've noticed the Norses to the Navajo Nation. They are new for Circle 1. They're in, I think, in New Mexico on a reservation, and it says that COVID has hit the reservation hard, and they're Navajo Fellowship Baptist Church there. So we'll be in prayer for that new ministry that we have added to Circle 1. And then, as you noticed on the new missionaries that are coming for a mission conference, Rex and Mary Cobb are coming, and they'll be in our circle also. And they run the Baptist Bible Translators Institute in Bowie, Texas. And over the years, I know we've had missionaries that we've come down for a mission conference, and they would drive down from Bowie to our conference. I don't know if you remember several of them. It's a linguistic school, so they learn pronunciations that will help them to learn. You know how in Hebrew you speak through your throat, and in Spanish you roll your tongue, I think. And so that school in Bowie, Texas is a linguistic school, and they head that up, and Pastor is wanting them to come and for us to support them in that ministry. And then also, let's see, I guess that was 2 new ones. Oh, and we have, it's not on this list, but we have some medical missionaries that we're supporting now too. I thought I wrote down their names, but the Edmondsons. So I know several years ago, some of you that do medical or have maybe you're a nurse or whatever, several people in our church might be interested in doing a medical missions trip. So we don't know too much. I don't know too much about the Edmondsons, but we'll be getting newsletters and soon, I'm sure, and find out more about their work and how they do these mission groups. So I think that's it. Everything else is on the paper. All righty. Thank you.
About the Edmondsons, the medical missionaries, they go to lots of countries. They just finished in Honduras with Corey and them. They were there, and they have people come. Doctors go, and then people go to tell them the gospel. And so they'll come to get medical help, and it gave in the Mortison's letter how many, and a lot of people were saved, and then the missionaries follow up on those people. So it's really a good mission project. Well, I've known medical missionaries, but this is the first time I've known a name, and that helps us to learn to pray for them better and to know. And then when they were with your missionaries, because I knew they were going to be with the missionaries in Honduras, and so I could pray that way for that and knew who was coming. So as we learn about our missionaries, it's very interesting to know about that. You know, I think of another, did I call? I'm looking right at her, and her name is, we have another lady here that has, Diane. Did I call your name Diane? Yeah, I didn't. I knew there was somebody else that I hadn't. I went, "Duh." And Diane, we're so glad you're back, and we want you to come up and say happy birthday to Diane. Oh, my. She's been faithful and a wonderful help. I got acquainted more with her during VBS because she was in charge of the crafts, and I have just a teensy tiny bit kind of helping get supplies, and that's a big ministry, getting all those craft things ready. I was so glad she was doing it. all I was doing was helping her. And she said, no, this is exactly what I want. This is what it needs. And I said, yes, ma'am. And so thank you, Diane, and happy birthday. I kept saying, who is it? Somebody else here had a birthday. So thank you, Diane. And then we're going to break up into groups, like I said, each circle, and go over the different things about the ladies' soup and salad dinner, and then the international dinner, and then what you don't get today, I don't know how much information Vicki got on all of it, but Kathy will be back next month, and we'll get you all plugged in, because we need everybody's help, and we need servers, and we need people to come and help, even because we feed our missionaries starting Wednesday night through Sunday night. So we need people that will come help. We do most of the cooking here, except the international dinner we'll do from the circles and the soup and salad. But the rest of it we cook here, but we need help. So if you can volunteer, we will have lists and names where you can sign up next month. So don't skip out because of that. Because we need you. That's what makes it special. And that gives you a chance when you come to help to sit down with the missionaries. When they eat, we try to get you free as much as we can out after we've served, so you can sit and visit with the missionaries, and that's really a special time. It gets more than just what they give you. They give you the nuts and bolts. I'm going to mention one other prayer request from Afghanistan. We have a missionary from when Andrew Bonnell was over there working in Afghanistan. If you're watching any news, they're in complete turmoil. And I just read a letter from another missionary from the trails, and they had been there and said, it is very, very dangerous in Afghanistan. So if you'd pray for the missionaries there, it said a lot of the Christians are having to leave. Some of them don't know what to do because their stuff is there. But one man came to them and said, what do I do? My daughter, they want me to give my daughter to their soldiers in marriage. And he said, do I run? Do I give it to somebody else, hurt somebody else quickly? So some of the things that you wouldn't even imagine here is happening in those countries. So I've been praying especially for Afghanistan and for that work. And then it was easier in South Africa. They didn't mention that, but last month it was, and it's still dangerous, and they said there could be another uprising in South Africa, and all of our missionaries need prayer. There are things that happen there that you wouldn't even imagine. We know they're in God's hand, and God, in Jesus and God's hands, but he asked us to pray for their protection, their ministry, so let's do that. So we're going to meet. Let's have circle one go this direction. Circle, yes, ma'am. It's the second Monday. Yes, ma'am. I said at the beginning, we've had to move 3 in a row to the second Monday. Yes, it will be the second Monday because that first Monday is a holiday. So a lot of family things. And it'll be right before our mission conference. So we'll have hopefully the nuts and bolts all put together so we can give you a complete schedule so you'll know exactly what time, when. And ladies, any of the meetings with the missionaries that you want to come to, and you can, we want you to. Now, we don't make that a general church-wide invitation, but we do for you ladies. You're welcome to come because that way you can get acquainted. And if you can spot the missionaries in your circle or learn to pray for the ones in another circle, and you can meet them. So you are welcomed and wanted. We feed our missionaries here. It's so much easier than taking them to restaurants. So we feed them here Wednesday night, Thursday, we don't morning, but Thursday lunch, Thursday night. Friday morning, we have the breakfast. Friday lunch, usually here sometimes they go with different hosts, but then Saturday afternoon, night, it's really big, and so we want you to really plan to be at the mission conference and get acquainted with our missionaries. So Circle 1 goes, Circle 2, Rosemary, Carolyn, we'll have to catch up with the rest of Circle 1, good group from Circle 2, and then Circle 3, let's see, why don't we have Circle 3 go back this corner and Circle 4 back this corner, okay? So go with your leaders, and I'll be about if you have questions to answer, but pray, talk about the mission conference and the nitty-gritty rules, and then after that, have prayer for your missionaries, and then when you're finished, you can just dismiss, but be quiet if there's other groups still meeting in the auditorium. Thank you very much.